we're going to move on to our PIR board, which we luckily pre-ordered in advance of all this chaos, and is in front of us here. So we've got 4 sheets of 50mm thick, 2.4 meters by 1.2 meter PIR board. This stuff is going to cover our window cavities, our back door cavities, and then everything on the ceiling surrounding our fan and our skylight, which will be coming up soon, and all that.
Alright, so now we're carving and shaping the window panels. Here is one that we did earlier. So yeah, we're trying to contour them as exactly as we can. However, as you might expect, it's very difficult. The inside here, this measurement is smaller by about 3 centimeters than the outer one, and we have recorded those measurements. So these measurements on this one are the external, the outer line of the measurements, and these ones are the inner line. So on one side we draw these measurements, and on the other side we draw the other measurements. The issue with measuring anything in a van is that you need to find a fixed line that you know that it's vertical or horizontal, and that is incredibly difficult. So the only way that we can do it is to find the midpoint of each of these rectangle-ish shapes. Oh, and by the way, these van templates, they're going to be available on our website for free for you to download, print, and for you to go measure your van yourself. These are suitable for crafters and sprinters. Also, we're working very hard to publish a version of these templates with the measurements already on.
Keep an eye on the video description and the pinned comment on this video, so when they're ready they'll be on there, so you can download them, take them home, and hopefully they don't fly away.
A 30-minute cut and fit session. It's more like 2 to 4 hours cut and fit session, and fit again and cut again, and sand and choke a bit on dust.
I really wish that the van was straight and not curvy.
Alright, so we are on board 4, which is the back window cavity, which is the worst and most awkward shape you can think of. But the other 3 fit, so we're hoping that our measurements and such will work for this one as well. So Sam is marking out the standard grid, which you can't make out because it's really reflective and stuff. But essentially he's doing fixed grid measurements that we have measured in the van, and they're right here. So we can then match these measurements that we've measured out on there. Now this is our straight edge, and then we're going to measure from that straight edge out to here, which would then give us the approximate curve of the window. So this is where the window sits, roughly in these borders. This is the distance between the inner and the outer dimensions that we're going through. And then this awkward situation here is this becomes very shallow, and it very slowly basically merges with the wall.
The depth also changes, not just the shape. So that's why this one is going to be a pain in the butt. Now, how we're doing the corners is that we measured the corner of the van, cut this template. So this template roughly mimics the curve of most of the regular corners in the van.
Honestly, it was not too difficult to get the hang of it for the more regular shapes. The back windows were hell.
The other thing about putting a big block like this of PIR board in a cavity like this is you've got one solid surface against another solid surface. So all the vibrations that the van will have when you're driving along may cause this to rub up against that and cause a squeak.
And then rub a corner against the metal. Oh my, okay, no, okay. Sorry.
That's my point.
It wasn't that bad, it's just it was very close to that frequency and I just felt it. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to put foil tape around here, but to actually stick it up in this cavity, like that, we're going to use stick pins.
This is a stick pin, okay, and this is the other part of the stick pin. I have never used these, but they're the recommended method to actually put a PIR board without some sort of adhesive method.
They're actually used in houses.
But essentially the idea is you stick this to the wall. My hand is the wall. Can you see that? Yep. So my hand's the wall or the roof or whatever. You stick that down, you skewer the PIR board down on that, and then you use this plate to basically go down the stick pin down to the level of the PIR board to secure the stick pin.
Yep.
And then you bend the top, the remainder.
Yeah. Now it's important to note that these stick pins are only supporting the weight of the PIR board itself. It's not supporting the weight of anything else, because obviously that sticky pad on the back is not that strong of adhesive.
When this is stuck on, it doesn't really come off, no matter how unload bearing it is. So, here?
Yep.
So now we're making our van into a death trap with skewers. It's like a horror house.
There you go. Death trap. Now this comes the tricky part where we've got to line this up and then just... Yeah. Alright.
I don't see the stick pins coming out though.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little bit. Oh, that's not good. Oh, we can't put a plate on that, that's annoying. Okay, so the stick pins did not come out enough for us to put the plate on, and that's because of these ribs. They're pushing the whole thing just a little bit too far up. One of the stick pins that came off, I put it in the hole that it created, pushed it up against the actual board, and that's how much it should be able to come out, which is enough for us to put a plate on. But the rib will not allow us to. So we were thinking, what if we put a plate here and a plate here? That will basically hold this up.
Well, it's not falling down.
Yet. I'm not really happy with these stick pins. So the adhesive has been thickly at best, but that might be because it's exceptionally hot at the moment. But as we're trying to hammer down the pins, the pin is moving all around, ripping up the insulation a little bit, so it's widening the hole, and I don't like that. And then the pins that we did manage to fold down, one seems to have folded down, but the plate is loose. And the other plate fell out.
Look at that. I think it's held on by only one or two now. Can I just... Okay, all six. All six are stuck on the back.
I think the only one holding it up was this one, and the middle ones were supposed to be on firmly.
Right, so we did get a little bit annoyed at the stick pins, but we are still going to use them in conjunction with sealant. So we're going to put the stick pins here and here, and then we're going to put sealant basically up and around this brace where the insulation actually makes contact. The stick pins are going to basically hold it in place. The sealant's going to be the stuff that actually properly sticks it. And the issue with the stick pin poking too far through the insulation, we're going to show you in a minute when the insulation is up here. And if you're wondering about the ice block, the stick pin sealant sticks better when the metal is cold.
don't come out quite enough. I mean, they're okay, but we want them to be as flush as possible. So what we're gonna do is we're going to cut a recess here where the plate is going to fit. Right, and the last thing to do for this board to be complete is to stick some fluffy insulation here along the perimeter, because there's a big enough gap, honestly, I can fit my fingers in there. Well, that's a pickle. You're in the wrong place. Okay, by the looks of it...
Well, the stick pins didn't stick.
No, they didn't stick well, and as a result, I didn't have time to secure it.
No.
So by the looks of it... That...
Yeah, look at the bottom, that's...
So will that come off?
Yes, it will.
Okay, same problem.
That has dripped down as well. Look at that.
That's dripped down. Okay, ugh, still sticky.
But in positive news, these look like they've stayed on. They're about as bendy as they were last night when we put them on.
Yeah.
So when the stick pins work properly and they impale themselves all the way, it is enough to hold the sealant along so that the sealant can solidify itself. But that didn't.
So what we're doing to try and fix the situation is we're going to try and raise the stick pins to the height of the rib, which is about 1.5 centimeters. So we just cut these squarish pieces, and we're now sticking the stick pins on. Okay, so we're going to be using our glazing sealant for a faster stick.
Damn it. Alright. Hold this. And then we'll just stick it where it was.
Alright.
Cool.
That should not move. Cool, so the sealant on these has now dried. That is nice and sturdy, that's not going anywhere. That's the same sealant that sticks the windows on. So we're hoping that these pins are going to be nearly in the same area-ish. I mean, we tried to put them there, so hopefully we won't have to gouge out another hole.
You know, when researching how to stick these, what we came across is people just say, cut it to shape, stick it. And we're here to tell you that it is not as simple as just stick it. But they're done. They're on the walls and they haven't fallen off.
Okay.
So I would say that's mission achieved.
Okay, so the next part of the installation is the radiant barrier and the moisture barrier, but we do need to do a bit more research on that, and since everybody has such different opinions whether you should have a radiant barrier, where you should put it, yeah, so there's all of these questions that we need to decide before we actually put the barrier on, and also we need to discuss our framing, wall framing as well. So that is a story for another video, but before we let you go, Sam and I have been working on a van build journal on our website where where it's essentially the description on steroids. You get the video and extra content. You get what we've done in text form, step by step, with extra tips, things that we may have forgotten to say in the video or we didn't have time, and the tools we used, every single one that we could possibly remember, there's a link to it. So if that is something that you're interested in, the link is down in the description below, so go check it out if you like it.